Are the Giants for real? Despite all the highlights that seem fake, high-fiving refs, t-shirts being ripped off, quarterbacks drilling defenders, the rookies have won over the entire fan base. Plus, LeBron James catching heat for decision number 2. A fan actually sues him, and Stephen A. Smith perhaps crossing the line.
Stat padding his way to ignorant folks out there thinking that's going to make him the GOAT over Jordan.
I'm Doug Kezirian. This is Hard Pass, also available in podcast. It all started with a comical and clever meme, but now this kind of feels real, doesn't it? Exciting whites was the social media joke with the New York Giants, and it made sense. The rookie backfield of Jaxson Dart and Skattebo won their first game where they started together, taking down the previously undefeated Chargers. But then they lost to the lowly Saints, so many wondering that win against the Chargers was merely a fluke. But now, I think we have tangible evidence the G-men have something right now. They're much more than just exciting whites. Giants take down the defending champs, upsetting them in prime time, leading at halftime, and then shutting down the Eagles in the entire second half. Big Blue's excitement goes well beyond that win. The way in which Dart and Skattebo got it done has already won over the fan base. Skattebo, a fire hydrant with legs, punishing defenders for every tackling attempt. And that also invited nonsense on the Amazon Prime set postgame. Skattebo finished with 3 touchdowns, which had 50-1 long shot odds at sportsbooks. But while he is a wrecking ball, he also has the acrobatic backflip in his bag. As for Dart, he obviously makes plays with his legs, scoring the game's first touchdown by calling his own number. Get this stat. Dart, along with just Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, are the only QBs ever in NFL history with at least 50 yards rushing in each of their first 3 starts. Pretty impressive companies, league MVPs. Dart, undeniable swagger and moxie, highlighted by this willingness to high-five a ref, but he can also sling it, although to be fair, doesn't have ridiculous arm strength. That's why he was drafted a little lower than you would think. However, his mobility is certainly a weapon, and he's not afraid to lower the shoulder, doing whatever it takes.
In my mind, when I'm running the ball, I'm trying to, get a few yards and put our team in a really good situation. So I understand that, you got to take care of your body, and I definitely try to do my best with that, but in situations where, things are important, I'm going to do my best to get that done.
But that can sometimes get you sent to the blue tent to be monitored for injury. Head coach Brian Daboll on the hot seat this season, so he wanted his QB out there playing.
There's a lot of emotions, and I certainly am an emotional guy. I apologized directly to our team physician. I just wanted his ass out there if he was okay, but I wanted the process like we were getting ready to go for it on potential 4th down. I would have burned the timeout if he could have came out there. So I was asking, how long is it going to take?
No more concern than your head coach. He wanted you out of there, and he wanted you out of there fast.
Cameron in there. Kicked out, I think.
You did get kicked out, but when we look at this, obviously,
I was saving the trainer. I was trying to save the trainer from Jaxson.
He's trying to get me out.
Trying to get out of there.
He's trying to get me out.
We're trying to get you out. And what did your head coach say to you when you got a chance to get out of the tent and regroup and go back out there?
He said, "Are you good?" I said, "Hell yeah."
Now, coaches don't always love hearing that their quarterback's willing to lower the shoulder and risk injury, but teammates do. And that's what stands out to me most for Jaxson Dart. That's an important characteristic for quarterbacks, the leader of the team. Now, former Giants QB Eli Manning led in different ways, more understated, kind of introverted, let's call it. But he had Michael Strahan to be that vocal leader and that leader in the locker room. But traditionally, it is the quarterback, in New York seemingly has their next one in Jaxson Dart. However, just want to be fair, we've seen QBs over the years start out great and looked like the next big thing and hitting jackpot in the draft, only to flame out as defensive coordinators got sufficient film and could scout them properly. Guys like Vince Young, Mark Sanchez come to mind, but others did continue to have successful careers. But I just want to throw it out there. Tim Tebow, outlier situation. Not try to be sulky Sally here, but we've been down this road before. So my advice, cautious optimism but optimism is certainly justified. Let me know your thoughts with Dart and the exciting Whites backfield. Are they for real? Or is this just kind of like starting out fun and pull off an upset here and there? Or can they be legitimate foundational pieces for the New York Giants? Now, on the flip side, the defending champion Eagles, they've really only played 2 halves of football this season that are good, right? Their best play right now is a 1-yard plunge that some say is cheating because they false starts that aren't called. It's actually been mocked by NFL's own Twitter account. Check this out. The 4 tush pushes. A story in 4 parts. 1st and goal, 2nd and goal, 3rd and 1, 4th and inches. I thought that was pretty surprising for the actual NFL account. Wonder if Roger Goodell was aware of that. Now, keep in mind, championship windows don't stay open forever in the NFL. That's why the Patriots run was so incredible. Philly's been to 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls. The defense, not as strong, having lost some key guys from the one that won it all last year. Plus, Saquon Barkley maybe hitting that running back wall, only has rushed for over 60 yards in 1 game so far this year. But the Eagles are still 4-2. It's a long ways to go, so don't need to go gloom and doom so much. But join the conversation. Let me know your thoughts. What's your prognosis on Philly the rest of the year? They've been sort of escaping. They were reminding people of last year's Chiefs team that was winning, but not winning pretty, but winning ugly, still winning. Do you feel that way? Are you in a good sort of mindset for Philly, or do you think there is cause for concern, whether it be what their wide receivers were chirping about coming into this game, things along those lines? Let us know your thoughts. Join the conversation. One day after LeBron's silly Hennessy ad that annoyed fans and also invited a lawsuit, more on that in a sec, the Lakers announced their star will miss 3 to 4 weeks with sciatica on his right side. Now, that's irritation and inflammation of the sciatic nerve. Pain can start in the lower back and then go down the leg, in this case, the right side of the leg. And recovery timelines really all over the place, depends on the healing of nerves and things like that. Now, this is the first time LeBron will ever miss a season opener, perhaps the first chapter of a stretch when he finally shows his age after being basically a cyborg for so many years. He's 40 and is entering his 23rd NBA season. That is why the Lakers did not offer him a contract extension and why he's playing on an expiring deal for the first time in his career. As for that lawsuit, a fan is suing LeBron for $865.66 because he feels he was duped by the decision part 2, thinking it was a retirement announcement. 29-year-old Andrew Garcia bought 2 tickets for the Lakers' home finale. Now, that higher price tag is much lower now that we know LeBron's announcement was just a Hennessy ad. Speaking of which, Stephen A. Smith also none too pleased on his radio show, perhaps crossing the line when attacking LeBron for not only the ad, but really his entire career.
He's going to be 41. He's in his 23rd years, stat padding his way to ignorant folks out there thinking that's going to make him the GOAT over Jordan, not realizing that most of the stuff it took him to do in 20 plus years, Jordan did in 13.
I got to be honest, this was strange. It was always Skip Bayless who made the ridiculous comments about LeBron. So this comment, this reaction did take me by surprise. Stat padding? Come on, this isn't Akeem Olajuwon hanging on but with the Raptors. LeBron's still a top 25 player in the NBA. Now, I understand Stephen A. has a history with LeBron after James approached him at a Laker game regarding what the broadcaster had said about his son, Bronny, but LeBron made it personal, so Stephen A. sure looks like he did that as well. Didn't have to. Sounds like that's weighing in. Now, he's always said Jordan was the GOAT, but to go this and call it stat padding feels like it's personal unnecessarily. Let me know your thoughts. Is Stephen A. acting unprofessionally, or can he separate the incident from the situation? Now, I always liked Stephen A. Didn't interact with him much at all, but the few times I did, he was great. And obviously, when you're on air that much for that long, you might do some things that rub people the wrong way. So definitely want to hear your thoughts. Weigh in and join the conversation. Elsewhere, the Philadelphia Phillies season ended in heartbreaking and bizarre fashion. Extra innings, bottom 11, Dodgers have the bases loaded, but 2 outs for Philly. Just need to get Andy Pages out. Orion Kirkering, the reliever on the bump, fields the dribbler, but he throws home instead of first base. Dodgers walk it off and win the series, advancing to the NLCS. Kirkering, a giant mistake, and it stinks for him. And I feel it, but this is basic stuff. PFP goes back to spring training. Pitchers, fielding, practice, which you train from spring training year-round, essentially. You got to know the situation cold. You cannot botched that. Now, in baseball, when you play the field, before every pitch, you are thinking, if the ball's hit in my direction, what am I going to do with it, right? You anticipate, you don't react if the ball is hit your way. Now, for a pitcher, it's obviously different because he's focused on getting the batter out, but he's got to know how to field his position. That is so important.
The little details are as important as your training, as your strength, as your abilities, as everything you do in baseball. They need to pay attention and anticipate themselves to what might come during the game, what kind of situation might pop up. And this is a real good example. I think he went out there with the mentality, I'm going to get this guy out, I'm going to execute pitches, but forgot that he needed to also fulfill the responsibility of fielding, throwing, and securing that out.
Now, the other issue here, and I don't want this to get swept under the rug, is catcher JT Realmuto. As soon as the ball's hit in play, he's pointing to first base, but doesn't say anything. You got to help your pitcher out. You're more locked in. He was focused on the pitch, and everybody's got to help each other out. I know it's a no-brainer, Little League concept to throw to first with 2 outs, but you cannot risk anything in that moment. So he deserves some blame, as does the entire offense. Only 1 run in 11 innings. Philly broadcaster Howie Rose, I thought, had a nice moment. Did have this sympathetic tweet and says, I don't care who you root for, but if you can't find even an ounce of compassion for Orion Kerkering, you are undoubtedly devoid of a soul. It's a strong comment, but I get what he's saying. And I'm a Dodgers fan. Obviously, I felt for the pitcher because you want to win the cleanest way. You don't want a botch situation, but that's part of all sports, right? We see missed layups, missed free throws, missed 3-footers in Masters or whatever majors. So it happens all the time. You feel for him, but it's not just the game didn't come down to one play, right? One pitch. The offense didn't do anything. But let me know your thoughts. Join the conversation. Weigh in on this. I'm very curious to hear everyone's reaction, whether they think it's on the pitcher. Does Realmuto, does he take the blame because he didn't yell first or 1-1-1? That is all part of the equation, but definitely join the conversation. Time now for Fans in the Stands, and this is when I get to respond to comments in our most recent episode or a recent episode and our audience, our fans in the stands. But it's a reminder also for you to please like and subscribe. That is our currency here in the YouTube world. Really helps us out. Leave a review, give us a 5-star rating, all that good stuff. It really, really helps us. So comment I want to address is from RJG7112. And this was in response to the Arizona Cardinals player, Mari DiMarcado, dropping the ball before the goal line, which is an epidemic in the NFL, apparently. Point shaving. The league has been run by gambling from the beginning. The players' jobs are to fix games for sportsbooks. Almost all the money was on the cards in that game. He did his job. I'm very, very amazed at the volume of tweets along these lines or comments, whatever it may be. They don't fix games. There is no script. Just think about the cover-up that would have to happen. And the books don't care if there's an uneven amount of money. They can move the lines and get other... It's just a very sophisticated exercise that they don't care what happens in the games. The books really don't. Yeah, they have a rooting interest, but it's not the end of the world. It's like the roulette wheel going round and round. If there's a table has above your big bets on red, they don't care because it's just one spin. It's one thing in the big scheme of things. I just don't understand how people write these things. And I want to be respectful because I appreciate your comment, appreciate your engagement, but it's just impossible for this to be a true statement. It just isn't. Now, I understand people say things if they're frustrated or maybe got bounced in a survivor pool. Sports are the biggest reality show we have in this world. Crazy things happen. Look at just everything that's happened in sports. It's not always because of a sports book outcome or gambling. It's just not. I don't know what else to tell you. As my buddy used to say, I can only explain it to you. I can't understand it for you. So I leave it at that. But I do appreciate the engagement. Please like and subscribe to the podcast. And appreciate everyone tuning in. This was a fun show. A lot of stuff going on in the sports world. That happens every October. It is so jam-packed. But that's going to do it for this episode of Hard Pass.